So what then is the role of music? What is the role that music needs to play within the service, regardless of our denominational or our cultural perspective? What can we use music for? If music is, in fact, as Charles Wesley said, a gift of heaven, how can we use that gift to enhance what we're doing in worship? And that enhancing it as we plan worship, as we design what we want creative worship to be, meaningful worship. How do we make it more meaningful? What's it for? What's the role? Well, firstly, the main role is it's the one corporate, truly corporate act of worship that we do. You know, everything else we actually either sitting there listening, or maybe one or two people are participating. But in worship, in corporate singing, all of a sudden that's different. In corporate singing, it's the one thing that we do in church that we can possibly all do together. And so it becomes a unifying factor, or at least it has the potential to be a unifying factor, something that can draw together the different parts of the community together. And really that's part of what corporate worship is about, is that yes, we talked about devotion in the last module, that yes, you can do a devotion by yourself. But when we come together to actually worship together, music can be a real connector that binds us and unites us together within that. Another aspect of music is that it's able to support the scripture in the sermon. It's able to support it by virtue of maybe singing a related connection. Maybe there's the sermon may be about a particular topic or lesson, and what the music can do, it can help to reinforce that lesson. It can help to make that lesson connect for people and help them to remember it. Because often people remember music and the lyrics of music very well because it's been put into that regular metered format. And so it's in that format that we can hear the music and it can support the scripture that we can talk about as well. One of the other things that music can do is it can be an encouragement to people. Encouragement and an inspiration. You know, there's so many times when we might feel a bit down or might feel as if we haven't got anything to offer. And it's at that point that we can hear a piece of music that can stir us, that can encourage us, that can enliven us. I mean, how many people wouldn't remember kind of finishing a service with one of those rip-roaring kind of toe-tapping type songs? And as you leave, everybody leaves out of the sanctuary with that sense of encouragement and inspiration. Yes, we're going to go out and do what we've just sung about. And so there's a sense of encouragement and inspiration there as well. The other thing about worship, or the other thing about music and the use of music within the church, is as a form of something that unites us in our body, in our minds, and in our spirits. There's very little that we do in worship that's able to unite all three of those aspects of our lives together. Because in fact, when we sing, we use our bodies, we use our voices, we use our hearing, we even use our eyesight as we read the words, or whether it's in a book or in an overhead. Either way, we're involving our body, our senses, but at the same time, we're involving our minds as we're thinking about what we're singing. That in some ways, when we sing, there's a connection with what we're saying a little bit more than sometimes when we're just hearing it. Sometimes when we're just hearing it out, we can drift away, we can move off. But often when we're singing something, it's making much more of an impact on us. But then also the Spirit, where we're able to reconnect with the truths and the promises of the good news. And so you can see that music has a wonderful ability to be able to unite together those three aspects of life: our bodies, our minds, and our spirits, and pull them together to actually unite them in worship and in process. And so that's why music needs to be far more than just the filler that we put in there before we read the Bible or that we hear the word preached. Music actually needs to be something that's thought through in the way in which it's going to do that. Is this helping to unite us? Is this helping to draw us together as both individuals and as the community itself? Finally, I believe that music is also a vehicle for our feelings and emotions. It's a vehicle for our feelings. Now, you know, often what we've done in the church is we've tried to negate our feelings. We've tried to make out that we're not feeling people. Yet human beings are feeling-orientated people. They are people who live by our feelings. We react out of our feelings. And so often what music is able to do is to be a vehicle for us to express that feeling, to express our praise, to express our adoration, to express even our grief. You know, I think so often what we do is we don't leave time for expressing grief. We don't create an opportunity for allowing that. In fact, too often what we wanting to do, and maybe to some degree that's been the issue of songs, is that they're all universally triumphant and excited. Maybe sometimes we have to sing songs or hymns or other particular music that allows us to lament, that allows us to say, no, everything's not wonderful, but I'm going to sing it anyway. And so allow the song to become a vehicle for those feelings, the honesty that we can bring before God. So you can see that there's many roles for music. There's many different roles that we can use to actually enhance the meaningfulness of worship together as the people of God.